Hello friend, in previous video we have uploaded the number of videos related with the bearing. Okay, so in this video we will focus on the bearing failure. So why the bearing fail under the load and the different reason for the bearing failure. Okay, so let's start the video. The first and the most common cause for the bearing failure is nothing but the fatigue. So what is meant by fatigue? So fatigue is nothing but the cracking of material and component due to the cyclic load. So because of the cyclic load, the stresses will generate in the part, okay, and because of the stresses the fracture is initiated. So the fatigue failure is nothing but the formation and the progression of the crack due to the cyclic load, or you can say the repetitive load. Okay, so in most of the cases the fatigue failure happen below the yielding point of the material under the cyclic load. So there are three stages of the fatigue failure, like crack initiation, crack preparation, and the final fracture. This fatigue failure it is caused because of the wrong selection of the bearing for the applications. Suppose we have selected the wrong bearing for the application, so it will fail under the load condition or in the machine. Okay, so how we can prevent this one? So we need to select the proper bearing. So as we know, we have a different type of bearing for the different applications. There is no bearing which is suitable for every application. So each bearing having the different application as per the load condition, speed, misalignment, temperature, and the different factor. Okay, so we need to focus on the proper selection of the bearing for the application considering the load condition, speed, misalignment, and the temperature and the other factor for the application. So the proper selection of the bearing is very important to avoid the fatigue failure. The next reason for the bearing failure is the lubrication. So the lubrication also causes the bearing failure. This is caused because of the too little lubrication, too much lubrications, or the wrong type of lubrications. So we can overcome the lubrication problem in two ways. So we need to use the maintenance pre-bearing which will not require the relubrication throughout their service life, and second one is to fit the automatic lubrication system. That automatic lubrication system will provide the exact quantity of lubrication at the exact interval. So in these two way we can overcome the lubrication problem. It will help to improve the bearing life and the performance of the bearing. The next reason for the bearing failure is the incorrect mounting. Okay, so because of the incorrect mounting, around 16% of the bearings are failed. So generally we use the different types of fitting like mechanical, heat, and the oil. So if the bearings are not fitted correctly, so under the running condition bearings may fail. Okay, so we need to properly install the bearings. Okay, so to avoid the incorrect mounting of the bearing, so we should follow some guidelines related with the mounting of the bearings. Okay, the next reason for the bearing failure is the improper handling. Okay, so the improper handling also causes the bearing damages. Okay, like by scratches and the indentation. Okay, so we should always follow the manufacturer storage instruction. So there are the manufacturer instruction for the handling, storage, and the for the assembly process. So we have the instruction booklet. Okay, so we need to follow that instruction properly. The next reason for the bearing failure is the contamination. So the contamination can result from the improper storage or the handling. Okay, so like insufficient protection to the bearing and the incorrect seal for the bearing. Okay, So this causes the contamination to the bearing, and the contamination result in the bearing failure. So we can avoid the contamination issue for the bearing by properly handling and the storing of the bearing, and we need to ensure that we are using the right seal, shield or grease for the bearing. So seal is very important. Okay, so even the most suitable bearing for the application will fail if the seals are not right. Okay, so in order to achieve the maximum bearing service life, so we need to ensure that the different factor we need to consider for the bearing. Okay, so in order to achieve the maximum service life of the bearing, so we need to focus on the different factor. So as per the application, so we need to select the bearing, like we need to focus on the what type of load coming on the bearings. Okay, the speed, the temperature. Okay, so under the what condition the bearing will run. Okay, so there are different factor we need to take under the consideration. Okay, the bearing selection is a very complex topic. Okay, and we need to select the proper bearing as per our requirement by following the bearing selection criteria, and we need to check as per your condition. So where we are using, so we need to understand the complete scenario related with the application of bearing where it is installed. So friend, we have seen the bearing failure is caused because of the fatigue, lubrication, improper handling, improper mounting of the bearing or the incorrect mounting, and the contamination. So because of these, bearing fails. Okay, so I hope you like this video. So if you like this video, you can like, share and subscribe the channel, or you can share with your friend to spread the knowledge. Okay, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.